The 417Gamers is a group of board, tabletop, and card gamers in the 417 area code. This is the podcast. Hey guys, Metagames Unlimited is Southwest Missouri's friendly local game store of choice. Large play space, great board game selection, magic cards, Warhammer, paint, supplies, everything you could want for gaming. The 417Gamers and we usually are out every Thursday night from 6 to close playing them games, teaching them up. Come out and play games with us. Also, check out some of the events that they run in town. Check their Facebook at mguinc.com or go over to the Facebook page, facebook.com/MetaGamesUnlimited, or on Instagram at meta_games_unlimited. Welcome to the 417 Gamer Podcast, episode 42, the one with MoonCityCon 2025. In the four, Andrea and I discussed 4 more games that we've been enjoying recently. We talked Tower Up, Rebirth, Tiny Laser Heist, and Butterfly Gardens. In the topic of the show, we talk about the board game convention that we help run, MoonCityCon 2025. Was it a success? Spoilers, yes! And in the 7, we talk about 7 of our favorite moments from MoonCityCon 2025. Without further ado, the 417 Gamer Podcast. Welcome to the 417 Gamer Podcast. My name's Rick.
And I'm Andrea.
In the 4, usually on the 20th, we talk about 4 events or restaurants that we've been enjoying. But we are deep into con season, or we're in the middle of con season. We'll say that. For us, it's deep because we're coming off MoonCityCon 2025.
Yay!
And it was great!
Not just great, fantastic.
It was. A huge shout out to Rio Grande Games. I mean, we talked at Moon Colony Bloodbath ad nauseum in the last episode. I believe it was worth it. Jay Thomason, awesome, sent us tons of games for MoonCityCon. They got played. Mm-hmm. They got enjoyed. We took tons of pictures with all of our guests that had a great time. Yeah. In the next episode, July 10th, the topic of the show will be older games. And in the episode 20, we're going to review the older train game by John Bohr, SNFC, France and Germany, which is the reprint of Paris Connection. The art is a little bit on the
generic.
Yeah, we'll go generic, or the simple side. Mm-hmm. But the gameplay is fantastic, and it plays 3 to 6. So if you're interested on what we think of that, tune in next month. But in the 4 here, we're still going to talk about more games, because we have so many games to talk about.
So many.
Andrea, if you don't mind, I'm going to start us off. Mm-hmm. We played this at Geekway. We ended up immediately, not only us, but Alan and Sarah with us, had our friendly local game store, Metagames, orders each a copy. Mm-hmm. It's Tower Up. This was in the Play to Win section from Geekway. Would have been happy to win it. We didn't, but we immediately bought it. This is published by Monolith Games. This is designed by Frank Critton, Gregory Largy, and Sebastian Ponchon. It plays 2 to 4. So in Tower Up, there's a big map of construction sites. Mm-hmm. And you're building skyscrapers. On your turn, you can either get more building resources, and they come off of cards, and those cards can give you black, white, brown, or gray buildings, and they're plastic buildings. They'll stack on the board when you build them.
They're basically little floors to each building.
Right.
One story.
But also on those cards are little symbols of bulldozers, cranes, steamrollers. Those can move your player board markers up, and each of those markers, when they hit dollar signs, that's how many $1 million those are worth at the end of the game. So that's one of the actions, is take a card for resources. The other one is build on the map. When you build, the first thing you do is build a new floor somewhere on the map, and it has to be adjacent to another building, and it cannot be the same color of that building, or buildings. Once you put that on, then you have to pay for that floor by putting pieces on the adjacent buildings of their color. Every tower can only be one solid color. So if you start a brown tower, every piece stacked on that tower has to be brown, or white, or gray, or black, depending on the tower color itself. Once you've done that, then you have these roof pieces, and you roof one of the buildings that you either started or put more pieces on.
In your player color. Each player has a different roof color.
Correct. Once you do that, depending on how many floors are underneath that roof, you move the vehicle that has the same player color. Like the white buildings go to the bulldozers, the black buildings go to the steamrollers, the brown buildings go to the dump trucks, and the gray go to the cranes. You keep on playing until somebody has played all of their roofs, and then you see where everybody's at as far as their trucks, and you add up their money. There's also some global goals. The base ones are build a building in all of the 5 boroughs, have a presence or a roof piece on all 4 colors of buildings, and then have a presence or a roof piece on buildings that are built in parks, in 4 different parks. So, those have values of 7, 5, and 2 3s. So the first one to do it will get the 7, second will get the 5, and then the 2 3s. It's not hard. It's very easy to play, and we played it. We were just... The games that we can get family and friends that aren't big gamers into these,
Yeah.
they win me over quite quickly. And this is one that the box doesn't look like a whole lot. I understand it does tell you what it is. It's
It's a construction game.
It's a construction game. But the table presence is there. When you're done, you see all the skyscrapers on your board, and people come by and ask, "Hey, what's that?" It's Tower Up, and it's good.
The components are very good in the size, because I'd say each floor of the building that you do is an inch square. So if you've got a 6-story building, you've got a 6-inch tall building, almost.
Sure, yeah.
And like you said, it really gets, by the time you have a completed board, it's got a great table presence.
Yeah. Number 2, Andrew, we played Rebirth.
This map had 2 sides to it. They were Scotland and Ireland.
We haven't played Ireland yet. We played Scotland, where there's cathedrals and there's castles.
And the little, again, another game with great components. Your little cathedrals and castles, whenever you build out onto the map, are really good quality pieces. Again, looks wonderful once it's done, full of cathedrals and castles.
Nice resin pieces. So this is designed by Reiner Knizia. He has absolutely designed so many games. I think he's got hundreds of games under his belt. Published by Mighty Board Games. On your turn, you're going to have these little hex tiles that you're going to put out on the map. The map is a hex grid of either Scotland or Ireland. We played Scotland both times, and it's the beginner map. When you put out the tile will dictate where you can put it. If it's a leaf, you can either put it in a farmland, or you can put it in just a rural area that doesn't have any labeling. When you put it down, it scores for itself and anything adjacent. The lightning bolts do the same thing. You find other lightning bolts or blank places. It does the same thing in scoring. It scores for itself and anything adjacent. Then you also have their build. They look at houses. You can put them in the cities. So they score when the city has been completed, and then whoever has the most house symbols in that city scores the biggest points. So like a 3-spot city is worth, like, let's say 15, 7, and 3. I think that's a little bit off. But then like a 2-building city is worth 5 and 3. And then a small 2-position city is worth like 2 and 1. So whoever's got the most, we get the big points. Whoever's got second most, we get the so on and so forth. But the very first time you put a piece on the building that is next to a castle or a cathedral, you put pieces from your supply on the board in those spaces. The cathedral will stay there, and you'll get a bonus into game scoring card that'll go in your supply. And then the castle stays there until somebody else can put more of their pieces around that, and then they will steal that castle from you. Castles will be 5 points at the end of the game. You get points for all the pieces you put out. When you put them out for the farms, the energy farms or the food farms, or when you complete cities with the buildings. And when the game's over, you also get the points on all the cathedral cards you collected if you were able to satisfy any of them. We played it, we liked it, and Alan and Sarah, our friend, they won it.
They did, through the play to win.
So when we visited them for barbecue in a later week, we played it again.
And we still liked it.
We still liked it. Andrea... What else are we doing?
Number 3 on our list is Tiny Laser Heist. I don't normally do Kickstarter games. You participate in this hobby far more often than I do.
Yeah.
But this one had a wonderful ad campaign, and I backed it, and I'm really glad I did.
Yeah.
It is a dexterity game. You have a small, basically, room that you set up, and Mission Impossible style, there are lasers that you put onto this room. It's a cube. The pieces, you snap them together from the box, and then the lasers are rubber band-esque.
Like little bungees, like tiny little bungees, though.
Yeah, that barely seat into holders on each side of the room. You can crisscross them any way you like. The only rule is that the lasers cannot touch each other. And you can put on... They recommend you start with 5 lasers in a room for your
walls.
First game, for your beginner game.
If you move a piece out of a wall,
Then
it has to go
you
back in the
have
same it came from.
pedestals with jewels on them that you place around in the room, and locks go on top of the jewels through stacking. Then you get a set of hands on a stick, basically. They're like chopsticks with little plastic hands on them, and you use one hand and another player uses a hand, and together you try to lift the locks off of the jewel, set them on another stack of locks until the jewel is revealed, then grab the jewel, pull it out of the room without ever touching any lasers, because if you touch them, they'll snap and come off, and you lose. I thought it was going to be super simple and easy, and like, how hard can it be? And man, it was so much harder. The base game, we were not able to
This one. This is fine.
finish.
You guys are running low on time.
Because we need more practice.
Yeah.
Okay.
We played 3 players, and so when you start, you have one person that is the
you have a whole
mastermind.
bunch of locks to pick up.
And they tell everybody which of the gems they're going after, because on top of it, there's 3 different lock colors.
Look, there's one
yellow,
gem.
blue, and pink.
I changed my mind.
Everybody has a hand of cards of their lock picking skills they can do that round. And so you need somebody that can pick each of those locks. So you say, who's got these lock cards? And then you invite people in. And then depending on how many locks are on that gem is how many loot cards are available for that round. So for the mastermind, let's say there's only 2 locks on it. Do you think just you and another person can do it? And who has the lock picking cards that you need? 'Cause if you don't, you might need 2 others, and somebody's not going to help you if they're not getting any loot. On top of that, if you don't take people, there are some mean little take that cards that they can play on you, like either play with you one eye, play with your offhand,
Yeah.
or something like that.
If in a round you are not invited into a heist for that turn, you can play a card that says, I get some of the loot anyway, even though I didn't participate in the heist. Different things to spice it up a little, in addition to the dexterity aspect. Very good game. Glad I got it. I do believe it's available retail now. So if you're into dexterity games, great table. Another game. All of these games we're talking about have great table presence.
They do, so far. The other one, the last one, too. So this is the artist is Alina Letnyova. Publisher is Evan and Josh's Very Special Games Company. I assume Evan and Josh are the designers, but they are not listed on Board Game Geek. The last of the four that we're going to talk about is a lighter game. It's Butterfly Garden. This is published by Capstone Games. It is designed by Reiner Knizia, one more time. This is a tile-laying game where you are trying to attract the butterflies to come to your side of the garden. This plays 2 to 4, I think. We played 2, and I think we kind of looked at the 3-player version of it. So the butterflies are in these little... They're on the flowers, and you want them to come to your garden to make it prettier. So on your turn, you play a tile, and you don't have to play adjacent to anything as far as I read in the rules. I may be incorrect on that. I'm sorry. We at the Geek Way, and we played 21 games, something like that.
This another in the play to win. Another play to win.
So this was the play to win. So you play a tile, and a la Tsuro or any other tile-laying game where you have movement, this follows it. Butterflies follow the movement, and your tiles... Thank you, Berry Dog. They're hexagonal. So you have 3 paths that are kind of weaving on these tiles, and each one has a different art pattern that weaves. And you have designated, it tells you, based on player count, where your flower beds are. So you are, rivaling others, trying to attract the butterflies to get to your flower bed. It was cute. The butterfly pieces are nice. The board itself is kind of a muted green. I get it. It's garden, so it's gonna be green, but I thought that part was kind of The gameplay, I think, would have been way better if we would have played 4. I think it would have been more interesting.
Yeah,
but I still
agree.
enjoyed it at 2.
I did too.
But as a 2-player game, I don't think it's a game that we needed to pick up. So if we get to play it again at 3 or 4 and get a full game in, maybe that'll sway our opinion on whether we need it in our collection. But it was good. But it doesn't need to come over.
Not yet, anyway.
All right. That was the 4 in the 417Gamer podcast. Have you heard of We Teach Wednesdays at Village Meeple? Andrea and I partnered with Jess at Village Meeple. We did a We Teach Saturday event at MoonCityCon, but that was inspired by their own event. Every Wednesday, Village Meeple picks a game they want to teach you. Want to find out what's on deck from them? Go to their website at villagemeeple.com, find out the game, go out there and learn. They're fantastic teachers. And if you're lucky, maybe they have it in stock and you can take it home. That's villagemeeple.com. The one topic of the show is going to be MoonCityCon 2025.
Woo!
It went so well.
It did.
So I don't know if that says something about us, but we stepped away for a year because we had life stuff. We got married. We went to a destination wedding for one of your friends. We had a cruise. We did some house repairs. I was supposed to work on my health. I'm still working on that. I didn't get as far as I'd like to, but I feel like 4 out of 5 is pretty good. Solid B.
Yeah.
Right? So we get there. We do the setup. Our volunteers were fantastic. What are we looking at? Gotcha. Setup was the most painless setup I think I've been a part of our convention thus far.
We've been lucky to have reoccurring volunteers that...
For the longest time, well, I'm stubborn about this anyway, about asking people for help. And it's like, this is ours, we can do it. This is ours, we can do it.
We don't need anybody to do that. I'll just do it.
But man, our volunteers, they step up so much, and they allowed us to do a whole bunch of stuff that it let us do more events. It let us do
more teach-up games. Let us actually play some games. I think this is the first convention, honestly, where I've played more than one game. at Moon City instead of working.
Yeah.
Many hands make light work, I believe is the saying. So, and it went so smooth. I mean, everyone, we're in a groove. We know what we're doing. This works, that doesn't. This goes there, that goes there. Boom, boom.
Elle, Josh, Jennifer Meyer, Rebecca, Batzel, Daniel Smith. I know I'm missing a couple of people in there. You guys did a fantastic job. Set up in the library, tear down my family, my dad, my sister, my niece. She was Team Jaina. She got a little boo-boo when she scraped her knee on one of the shelves that we were tearing down.
But by God, for a kindergartner, she
was there.
She toughed it out.
She sure did.
She was great.
So the setup went really nice. Mm-hmm. We found a good spot to put the banner this year. We zip-tied it to the fireplace of the Hilton Garden Inn.
Which sounds terrible, but it actually worked out well.
Kudos to the staff. They were fantastic with us.
We have always been impressed with how well they take care of us, but this year, man, they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
They were on it. I felt like every time I turned around, there was a staff member there. Do you need anything? It was wonderful.
We haven't had to prompt them too many times. I mean, maybe toilet paper was out, maybe soap was out on previous years, or something wasn't working. That's just a hotel.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. That many people using that many things break. Mm-hmm. This year, I think I heard once that one of the soap dispensers was out. Otherwise, the trash was taken out consistently. And you understand people are opening games and throwing away the punch boards, throwing away the shrink wrap, getting food, throwing away the plates. The trash amps up pretty big if you're not pretty judicious about it. And they were constantly going. So good on them.
I also, the quality of their tables and chairs, when you're a gamer and you sit in one chair for several hours, a plastic folding chair is not going to cut it.
No.
They've got great quality tables and chairs. The setup, we've got it figured out as far as the vendor area, the gaming hall, how it works best, where our overflow tables can go. Saturday got really busy. I don't remember seeing but one or two empty tables on Saturday.
That was during lunchtime, so they could have been eating.
Yeah. And that went, when we left, it was almost midnight. There were still probably half the tables full of people playing games.
Yeah, they were having a great time.
Yeah, it was a fantastic time.
Before we headed in there, about a week and a half before, I got an email from Jay Tomelson of Rio Grande Games. He said, "Hey, I've heard about your con." And I think David from Board Game Famous might have talked us up a little bit. And if he did, thank you very much. But Jay Tomlinson said, "Hey, I'd like to send you some games. Where do I send them?" I said, "Send them here to my work." So, because I thought we'd get a box. And I would be very appreciative of that box. He sent several boxes. We got Beyond the Sun. We got Free Ride. We got Woodcraft. We got
Concordia,
my favorite game. Hell yeah!
Yeah. Did you tell him it was your favorite game of all time?
After I saw it, hell yeah, I did. I said, "Thank you for this. This is absolutely my favorite game." And so I.
And there wasn't just one copy. There was 10 copies.
I don't know about. It was a case, whatever case.
A case of each.
Was. And so we are keeping 2 back for next year. We're gonna pimp those out. We're going to put the upgraded resources, we're going to put the metal monies in there, and we're going to give them away as a pimped out door prize next year. If we would have been in contact a couple weeks sooner, we probably would have done that for this, because it's not only my favorite game, it's in Catherine's top 5, it's in Ben's probably top 15, 20. You like it quite a bit.
I do.
Brian likes it quite a bit. I think Leandra either hasn't played it or maybe she doesn't care. But hey, we all have our issues. But of the MoonCityCon staff, of the 6 of us, 5 out of 6 approve.
Yeah.
But Evacuation. It's a Vladimir Suchy pretty heavy game.
Did you say Beyond the Sun?
I did. Dennis K. Chan's game? Absolutely. I think it was, 1730 Golden Age of
1930.
1930, yeah. 1730 wouldn't make sense for airplanes, wouldn't it? And then SNF France and Germany, which is a drivetrain game. And next month we're going to review it.
Yes, tune in for that episode.
I told Jay, I said, we got the little podcast, and I said, for all the games you sent us, we're going to keep a couple copies. Mm-hmm. We're going to review them. And then we're going to... I think we're going to give some of them over to the Board Game Famous podcast. Mm-hmm. Let him do some reviewing. A couple of them he's already reviewed. I think he reviewed Woodcraft by Vladimir Suchy. And I think he's got Evacuation. But Freeride, I don't think he has. Concordia, bless his heart, I think he's played once, but he needs to play it again.
Of course he does.
Yeah, of course. We need to convert him. He's a Dominion player, which is also a Rio Grande game. I can't help him on that.
We did have a Dominion tournament.
We did!
At
MoonCityCon. Catherine ran that, and everybody had a good time.
Yeah.
We got promo cards through, I think, through our friendly local game store and Rio Grande. That was a great time. The Friday we did Pitch Car. I thought I made a pretty friendly course, and actually I thought you made the meaner course. Because you made a pretty decent sized course, and you put 4 rails on the whole sucker.
I did.
And I was like, that's pretty mean. Those kids are going to fly off the track. And they did.
Sure they did.
So did the adults. Yeah, the seasoned veterans. So the tables that they were on, and you said the tables were nice, and they're nice for board gaming. Pitch Car needs flatter tables if you want the tracks to be nice and smooth. Mm-hmm. These tables get used quite a bit for conventions and board meetings and stuff like that. They've shown their age, and so they're a little bit wavy at times. So if you set track pieces for Pitch Car on there,
honestly, that's any table.
I know, but it ends up being a character feature of the game, because now you have to figure out
where the potholes are.
Where the potholes are, where the table leans. If you make a straight shot, it's like reading a green in putting on a golf. Mm-hmm. You have to read how that puck's gonna fly. Did a great time. Mm-hmm. Mine I thought was easier, although I had one jump where you looped around and you had to jump over the track over a guardrail. And I did it in one try, and I was like, that's easy. We had a newbie, and bless his heart, he tried 10, 15 times.
To make the jump.
And I only made the tracks 2 laps so we could get through it all. Because I like everybody having to, we had 3 groups. I want each one of them to try both tracks. And when he finally made his jump, I think they were just finishing the race. So
but everyone in the group cheered.
Yeah.
Like, he did it! He made it!
And I'm like, did you guys finish? No, he made the jump. And then it's like, all right, good job, Don. And I think Don won that race. But that brings us to Saturday. Actually, let's leave a couple of these for our top 7, because that's what I want to talk about.
Let's do it. Let's go there now.
You want to go there now?
Let's do it.
A little bit. Stay just a little.
What else you want to talk about?
I'll talk about the vendors.
Of course.
Our vendors were great. So Metagames Limited is our friendly local game store. We had Carl on the... Meow Kitty wants to talk about this too. She wasn't there, but she wants to talk.
And one of our main sponsors from the beginning of Moon City.
Absolutely. They've been great. They always get vendor tables. They always give us price support. They always... And Alan and Jeremy and Carl and Matt and all the guys are like, hey, do you need a thing? Mm-hmm. Let me know and we'll make it happen.
And they always they sponsor these really nice bags for.
Go ahead.
For they. Swag bags, basically, and they're nice quality. They're not plastic. They're cloth bags. They're great. They're just the right size to when you win a door prize game, you drop it in your bag, or as you buy stuff from the vendor hall. You don't realize how valuable a bag to carry all your stuff is until you don't have one.
Until they start marking deals down on Sunday, and you're like, I've got 5 games. I've got a MoonCityCon bag.
Yes.
So they once again, we hadn't had the bag in a year or two. Mm-hmm. but they were like, man, it's
Time to bring back the
Time
bag.
to bring back the bags. If we can make them... We made them this year to where it's our generic challenge coin logo, and it's the Metagames logo, so there's no year on it, so they can be used, throughout the years. And we had a whole bunch of bags. We gave away so much swag. People were happy. Everybody was carrying around a MoonCityCon bag. It was great.
Yeah.
There's also Hedgecraft gear. Kate has been there with Metagames from our first convention.
Every convention, both of those vendors have been with us.
She has handmade things. She does 3D printed. She's been doing resin prints for I think the last couple years, where she makes her own dice. She got 3D printed little geckos and dragons and little figurines. She hand knits and sews. Like we got a turtle, and you put the dice in his butt.
He's adorable.
And she was making the Baby Yodas for a while, and she's like, I don't have time to make the Baby Yodas. I can make a turtle. And the turtles were cute, and she's like,
They were.
She's like, I've got a green one. I need to remember to bring him in. And then she's got jars of the dice she made, and she's got these 3D printed little dice vaults, and they look like potion flasks. You can put your dice in there, shake them up, and roll them out of the potion.
Another one that looks like a dragon egg.
Yeah.
If you like Game of Thrones, they're very Game of Thrones dragon egg.
Brendan and Yield Lasersmith, Sarah, his wife, they come in. They run their booth. They do woodworking gifts, laser cut, laser engraved. He also had some slate coasters that were engraved with different logos, and he used our MoonCityCon logo. They were fantastic.
Yes.
He sold quite a few. There was a few that he had left on the Sunday that he put in to our vendor raffles.
Donated, yes.
Fantastic. A new one to us is Swift Stroke Hobbies. Anthony's been coming to our convention a few times, has a good time gaming. He does resin prints, and I think he's licensed for a couple specific tabletop miniatures.
Yes.
So we bought a gelatinous cube, which I'd like to get one of our friends to paint for us. We have some friends that are artists and like to paint the minis, and I would like to get it painted and put it on one of our shelves for some decor. So I bought a gelatinous cube off of him. At Tremendicon. Tremendicon had their convention the week before MoonCityCon. They had, I thought, it felt like the most upbeat Tremendicon I'd been to.
Yeah. Tremendicon is a creators convention. So if you are a comic book artist or a board game designer, you are matched up with other people in that field. You guys can beta test games there. You can talk to publishers. And then they have, of course, the regular Comic-Con style costume contest, vendor hall, things like that. But it is very supportive of the community of different types of artists trying to get their careers up and going, basically.
Yeah. Then we had Village Meeple, our friendly local board game cafe. Great people. They had their booth. They had nerdy T-shirts. They had a Crocono board for sale if you wanted to purchase that. Jess went up and met Mark from All Play and got their brand new release games. There was a Vegas game. There was Wordsy. There was about 9 or 10 brand new games she brought down for the convention.
Yeah.
They're the smaller box games, so they get to the table. They fit a smaller footprint. Tend to be easier to teach. Fantastic little games. And then we also had Sunflower. Man, give me a second. Blah, 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 blah. Exhibitors. Sunflower Stitches. Two ladies that did some knitting and crocheting. We bought a little whale and a little octopus off of them. Really cute little things. They had various little just knitted, nerdy things. They're friends of Village Meeple, so Village Meeple brought them along. They played games at the booth. People kept on coming by and talking to them, and I hope they did well. Elaine, she was smiling ear to ear, and so was I didn't catch the girl's name.
Actually, I believe Elaine won most checked out play to win titles at the end of the convention.
She did. She checked out so many games and, talking to people when she can, playing games when she can't.
Mm-hmm.
So, great vendors. Had to thank our volunteers. Great vendors. But yes, you are right. We should probably go on to the 7 and talk about 7 memorable things from MoonCityCon.
Let's do it.
We want to shout out to Rio Grande Games. Thank you very much, Jay Tomlinson, for sending games to MoonCityCon. Rio Grande publishes my favorite game in Concordia, designed by Matt Gertz. Don't like that? I don't know what to tell you, but they also have some other games. Woodcraft by Vladimir Suchi, Free Ride from Friedman Fries, and Dominion is a loved game in the 417Gamer group that is designed by Donald X. Vaccarino. Check out their brand new game, Moon Colony Bloodbath. That is me and Andrea's current game of the year. Check out RioGrandeGames.com or contact your friendly local game store and get your Rio Grande game. The 7 in the 417 Gamer podcast is 7 in a category. We usually like to talk about a top 7 of this, that, or the other. We're coming off MoonCityCon high, if you will.
We're still high.
Yeah.
We're still jittery.
We had a great time. Let's do 7 memorable things, just like we did at Geekway.
Sure, yes.
Give MoonCityCon the
top
same...
7.
Top 7. Number 1, Rio Grande Games. Their donations to our con was huge. I'll put a picture. So, I talked about it earlier. Jay said, you want me to send some games? I had them sent to my work. The receiving guy at work says, hey, come back and get your cart full of boxes. And I said, what do you mean cart full of boxes? Yeah, they have your name on them. Are you expecting board games? And I said, I was expecting a box of games, maybe. He goes, oh, no, you got a cart. Bring your cart around.
A crate of games.
Yeah, so I go around, and he's got a shopping cart just filled to above the brim with boxes from Rio Grande Games. I was like, holy crap. So I sent the picture to my cohorts, and they're like, oh man, we're gonna get those turned around, and we're gonna make sure people get to play them, and we're gonna give them away, and people had a great time.
Yeah.
So Rio Grande Games, Jay Tomlinson, thank you very much. Number 2.
Well, we had our first Flip 7 tournament.
With Metagames.
Metagames sponsored this tournament. Flip 7 was the game that was the Spiel de Jaro winner.
Did it win yet, or was it just nominated?
I thought it won. We could look that up real quick.
Because I know it was at least nominated for right now.
I thought it won, but let me double check on that. While you research that,
Right.
we had every slot full by the time the tournament started, and then we still had people coming up at the beginning saying, oh, is it too late to join? We ended up having 3 full tables of, I think, 28 people ended up playing. We had the best time. This is, if you're not familiar with Flip 7, it's a small press your luck card game where in 21 style, trying not to bust, you're trying to flip out 7 cards dealt to you by the dealer without having a duplicate card. The higher number cards are worth more points. However, they're more common in the deck. So there are 12 12s, 11 11s, 10 10s, and so on. There are also bonus cards like a plus 10 to your final score, or there's 1 times 2 in the deck. There is a freeze your opponent. There's a second chance where if you are for some reason dealt a duplicate, you could say, nope, I'm not busting. I'm going to use my second chance card. So much fun.
Yeah.
I've never had a bad game of this. It sounds so simple, but it's so player interactive and fun. We loved it. We had a great time. Like I said, overflowing with people wanting to participate. So thank you to Metagames for providing us the games. Not only
the 3 that we've got. I went over to Seth and said, hey, we got a 4th table of Flip 7. You get another copy? He's like, here you go.
Yep. And then a gift certificate for our winner, in addition to giving the finalist of every table a copy of the game.
It was great. So every every table had another one. So one of the tables was won by a little girl named Jade. Mm-hmm. She was a little shark.
She was. She was sharp as a tack.
And then a gentleman won another table. He already had the game, and he gave it to a little boy. He's like, I already have it. He's like, you seem to like it. You want it? He goes, yeah. He's like, here you go, man. It went so well. That was great. Andrea, number 3.
Well, we got this idea. This event was sponsored by our local board game cafe, Village Meeple. On Wednesdays, they do a We Teach Wednesday, where they'll have people come out and teach people. Every week is a different game. They'll post what they're going to be teaching for the week, come out, learn how to play the game. They're normally newer titles coming out, sometimes older, heavier games people might not know how to play. So we decided to do a We Teach Saturday, and we took games out of our Play to Win library. So every person who participated in this event got an entry into the Play to Win for the titles, and they learned how to play the game. Mm-hmm. So we taught River Valley Glassworks, Fromage, SNSF, France and Germany, and from Rio Grande Games. And we also had another table teaching Kootenai.
So Rick, who is a frequenter of Village Meeple, he really wanted to participate and help out. And he's like, I want to teach something a little crunchier. And I'm like, all right. And it was whatever we could grab in the Play to Win. It was either going to be Woodcraft or Kootenai. Well, Kootenai came back in just as we were about to set up, and I'm like, here you go. Mm-hmm. He's like, you think people are going to show up? And there was a gentleman named Bill that sat down and game with him for one, and I think he had somebody else. I'm not positive.
So what we did is we rotated. We had the 4 tables going, and so we would rotate when this table was completed. All Fromage, River Valley Glassworks, and SNFF all play in the 25 to 35 minute range. Mm-hmm. And we were able to complete each game, then rotate to the next table. So someone who was participating would be able to learn all of those games. Kootenai was a large 90-minute game. So people who participated in that table just learned that one game. Yeah. But like I said, each person who participated got an entry in the Play to Win, and they learned how to play the game. Really happy with how that went. We're definitely going to keep doing that because every person who participated, and every table was full too. Really, we got so much positive feedback. They're like, this is a great idea. Definitely going to keep doing that from now on.
I would like to do it again. Number 4 is the Crocodile Tournament. So, Brian comes up from Arkansas. He's within a group that comes up every year, and he's like, and we talked Crocodile last year. And he's like, have you been playing your Crocodile board? And we played, here and there. I said, got married, did all this stuff. I said, haven't played it as much as we'd like to, but we have played it quite a bit. And he's like, how do you take care of yours? I'm like, we wipe it off. He's like, you wax it? I should. You do this? Maybe I should. I don't know.
Your whole conversation was very reminiscent of 2 guys with $high sports cars. What wax do you use? I only use this kind of cloth because it doesn't scratch. It was very entertaining to watch.
So I'm the person that just got or is like, am I crocodiling wrong? And, great guy, very nice. As we're talking, and he's like, you want to play some Crocodile tomorrow? I'm like, on what level? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, what about trying to do a pop-up little Crocodile tournament? So I am the MC for MoonCityCon. At the end of the Saturday announcement, I said, hey, who was interested in doing an impromptu pop-up Crocodile tournament? And I got quite a few woos. I'm like, all right, 10 a.m. Sunday morning, we're going to do Crocodile. Because I didn't have anything. Mm-hmm. I didn't do battling tops this year, and I had a couple boo-boo faces on that, and I understand. Yes. But I kind of want to, this fall, maybe bring back a family game night at Meta, and I think battling tops does that so well.
I think that's a great idea.
And I'm
Plus,
to bring it there.
We hadn't had a Crocodile tournament yet at Moon City, and we ended up, we thought that we would just have maybe 5-6 people. We ended up with 15 people.
Yeah. 16. I had to play.
16. Oh, that's right.
I got out of the first round, then I lost. Brian kicked me. Yeah, played it. And I was like, all right, this tournament, what is it going to be, like 30 minutes to an hour? And it took 2 hours to get through it all because we ended up getting 16 people.
We just kept having more people. Can I play? Village
it was Meeple let us borrow their board. Brian had his board on him. We went home and grabbed our board and brought it out. Mm-hmm. We had people, I think, all the way from 12 or 13 playing all the way up to 50s, 60s. Mm-hmm. Had a good time.
Wonderful game.
Wonderful. Number 5.
Another new feature from MoonCityCon this year, Catherine's idea, actually. Absolutely. We had bingo cards, but not your traditional bingo. When you registered and you came in, you were given a blank card with every square had a different question, and you had to go around and find another attendee who had the answer to that question, and then you would write their badge number into the slot. Questions were like, find another attendee who has more than 100 games in their personal collection, or find an attendee who's here from out of state, or questions like that. It really encouraged interactions between attendees who would not normally be communicating with each other. You know, sometimes you go to a convention and you play with the people you know. This encouraged people to strike up conversations, start playing games with each other. We had 2 different versions of the bingo for the winners. We had people who either completed line and column, and those were turned in for the regular bingo drawing. And then we had a second version for a blacked out card. If you were able to complete every square on your bingo card, fill it, black it out, you were eligible to win a free pass to next year's MoonCityCon. We had just as many people do that as we did for the regular bingo drawings. Yeah. And we gave away several of the Rio Grande games. We had other games that we gave away. We had some MoonCityCon merch that we gave away. For the blackout drawing, we would draw and say, would you like this game that we're giving away, or would you like to roll it over for a chance for a ticket for next year? Most of the people went ahead and took the game because it was a sure thing. Yeah, I'm going to take that game. The games that we gave away were...
So we gave away Deal with the Devil. We gave away... We gave away Concordia, which is my favorite game. We gave away a copy of Kemet from Matago Games. There was another big Matago game, and I don't remember what it was.
There was a Into the West.
That was one of our play-to-wins.
Oh.
But, yes. Yeah, the bingo cards, we gave away probably 20 games between Friday and Sunday.
Yeah.
The Blackout Bingo, we gave away like 5 games.
Mm-hmm. And 1 ticket to next year.
1 ticket to next year. And so Catherine goes to BGG-Con, and when she goes there, she says it's really easy to get into a game with just about anybody. If you see a space open, just ask, hey, do you have an opening for another player? And she said 9 times out of 10, sure. Or maybe the 1 out of 10 times, usually they're holding a spot for a person, or they're trying to get the game played before they go eat. Mm-hmm. You know, if the game just plays excessively long at 4 or 5, and they're like, hey, we're going to go eat, we want to get this out of the... no problem. But there are other conventions where... And ours was getting to that point where the same people were playing with each other and weren't branching out, and she's like, I want to foster a more gamer environment. Not just... so people be nice to each other, and people have never been mean at our con. But
oh, no.
Right now, just... in the world, things are kind of spicy. Let's go with spicy. And
you try to
foster some camaraderie in gaming. You're here to game. That person that's next to you, they're there to do the same thing.
And it didn't just work. It went above and beyond all of our expectations. I have never seen there were people at each other's table all the time talking to each other, and of course it would strike up conversations. Oh, do you have this game at home? I know how to play this game. Or, where are you from? Oh, I grew up there. And just the entire mood of the game room was a lot more lively and interactive. Instead of just a quiet room of different tables playing their games. There was so much interaction and people smiling at each other, and the next day, hey, there you are, good to see you again. Such a fantastic idea. I'm definitely going to keep doing this. So happy with the results.
Number 6 was
our
vendor raffle.
Now, I might be wrong, but this is the only convention that I know of that does the vendor raffle.
Yeah.
If somebody else out there does it, put it in the comment section. But as far as I know, we're the only ones. What we do with the vendor raffle is we give each one of our vendors raffle tickets. Mm-hmm. And every time an attendee will go to a vendor table, they don't have to purchase anything from the vendor. Just interact with them. Say, hey, can I get a raffle ticket? What do you guys sell here? Or what do you do? Or how much is this game? It really encourages the attendees and the vendors' interaction. Mm-hmm. Like I said, you don't have to buy anything, but just interact with our vendors and they'll give you a raffle ticket. And then those tickets are entered every day. We have a different raffle. And we tend to give away 10 to 20 prizes every day. Yeah. And then the vendors will donate items to the vendor raffle for giveaways.
They're always super generous.
So generous. I am always blown away at some of the great prizes that they give us.
And so it also helps hopefully gauge how well they're doing at their booth. Because I don't want hard numbers from them or anything like that. I'm like, and a lot of times they'll be nice. I'm like, how you guys doing? I'm doing good. We're getting our name out there. Like, yeah. We want our vendors to do well. We want them to sell their merch. You know,
of course.
I mean, we absolutely champion buying local. We have local vendors, and when you're buying local, you're not buying the cheap import stuff. You're paying for lunch money for a kiddo the next day. You're buying a pair of shoes. You're putting a little bit money towards their next light bill.
Yeah, exactly.
And
and it also helps foster that relationship. Oh, I didn't know where are you located, and then you open that relationship for them to visit their store later on. They're like, oh, where what do you? Oh, you've got this. I don't want that now, but maybe I'll get that later.
Yeah.
So, like I said, if anyone knows of any other conventions that do a vendor raffle, put it in the comments. As far as I know, we are the only ones.
And then number 7.
Not for the first time for us to have MoonCityCon merchandise. We've had our own branded merchandise before, but this year, Catherine, Ben,
Leandra, Brian went
above and beyond. We had an entire section of merch.
And I think a lot of that was Catherine and Brian. Brian kicked butt this year. Him and Catherine setting up their 3D printers. They 3D printed dice towers. They printed keychains,
chit trays.
Card holders they made from old CDs and knitted cloth.
Magnets put on your fridge that were also bottle openers. Buttons, of course.
I think the buttons were Ben and Leandra. Those were fantastic.
Christmas ornaments.
Yeah.
And then of course we had T-shirts and hoodies and all of the traditional.
Sold all but one of the T-shirts.
Yes, koozies, drink holders, and you never know why, you never know whether or not this stuff is going to sell. Everybody went crazy for this. I remember our person who won the blackout bingo, Matt, he ended up buying shirts for everyone in his family. It was really fantastic.
Yeah.
And then I'll add number 8 to our list.
An 8?
A bonus
Yeah.
for another first time ever for MoonCityCon. We had a charity raffle.
Yeah.
With silent auction, charity silent auction.
Right.
People brought in games and donated, and some other items that we had. I was blown away by how much stuff was donated for this charity raffle for Care Animal Rescue. We ended up raising over $2,000 for Care from our silent auction.
It was excellent. So some people donated gently used board games that they no longer needed. That were still good games. And then we also used some of the prize pool from Renegade Games. They sent us some stuff. We made one pack of the Rio Grande games. That was like some of my favorites. It was Beyond the Sun, Concordia, an Evacuation.
Some donations from our vendors, some
Absolutely.
local arts and crafts. And everyone was so excited about this. I wasn't sure if it was going to go over or not.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know how a silent auction's going to do. But man, over $2,000 we raised.
Yeah, it was great. That was 8 in the 7 of the 417Gamer podcast. Great weekend at MoonCityCon. I don't know about you, but I'm getting sleepy.
We're coming off that con high.
I still have the con high, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep, but I'm tired.
My back hurts. My feet hurts.
Once again, before we get out of here, huge shout out to Rio Grande Games and Jay Tomlinson for the prizes. Big shout out to Rio Grande, or not Rio Grande. We already are Rio Grande. But Renegade Game Studio, they sent us stuff.
Wham Wham Games donated to our
Wham
play.
Wham Games, the copy of Turn for the Worst, that was in our Play to Wins. That was played quite a bit. Duxom Games and Ludimul. I think that was Diatoms. That was one of Catherine's favorite games that we were able to put in our Play to Wins. Our volunteers, Josh, Brian, Elle, Rebecca,
Jen, Daniel,
Daniel, thank
Scott.
you. And Sam Baker, the last day. Sam Baker wasn't even scheduled to be one of our volunteers, but tear
He
down.
just jumped in and started helping.
He jumped in, started kicking butt, and I think he moved as much as anybody. Guys, thank you very much.
Yes.
And
Another year gone.
huge shout out to our vendors. Sunflower Stitches, I'll get them first because they were a first year for them, so their name is not as fresh. Swift Stroke Hobbies, once again, new for us. Thank you, Anthony, and you guys. New year for them. Village Meeple, Tremendous Gun, Hedgecraft Gear, Yo Lasersmith, and Metagames. Thank you very much. Keep gaming.
In the 417. Goodbye. The 417 Gamer podcast is recorded and produced by Andrea and Rick Bagwell. The intro music we use, Kind, Gentle, Beautiful Person, and the outro music, Making Up for Lost Time, was created by Origami Reptica. For links to our show notes, the music, and guest links, head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Hobby Gaming Network. Until next time, keep gaming in the 417.